Stem and leaf plot is just a way of organizing data, kind of like in a bar graph almost, except it usually goes from left to right instead of bottom to the top. So here's a set of data, and I'm just going to say there are 11 test scores. All you're going to have to do for a stem and leaf plot is create the graph, for lack of a better name. You're not going to have to calculate any numbers. Like yesterday, you had to do a little bit of calculations with mean, median, and mode. And when we get into box and whisker plots, you're going to have to calculate median. With stem and leaf, you don't have to calculate anything. It's pretty easy. You're just reorganizing these numbers. All right, and the first number goes to the left of the line. So here's what your graph starts off looking like, a line going straight up and down, and you want to put the first number in these, or the first digit in these numbers on the left-hand side of this line. All right, and you want, let's see, you've got 6, somebody got a 68, and somebody got in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So there's only 4 different numbers, or sorry, 4 different digits as the first digit in these numbers. There's a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. All right, and then how many 60s were there? There was only one. It was a 68. So you write an 8 over here. That means you had a 68. How about the 70s? There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scores in the 70s. So you start with the lowest ones. There's 2 72s. So you write 2 2s. Each one of those 2s goes with the number on the left. So a 7 2 and a 7 2. That's a 72 happened twice. And then the next highest score was 75, and that also happened twice. So that's 2 75s. And then you had a 77. So there's 5 numbers to the right of this line. That means you had 5 scores in the 70s. Ooh, I missed one. Did I? Yeah, there were 3 75s. All right. So there's actually 6 scores in the 70s, and that's why there's 6 numbers to the right of that line. Each one of these numbers is the second digit, 7 is the first digit. So that's a 72, a 72, a 75, a 75, 75, and a 77. Then you do the same thing with the 80s and the 90s. There's 2 scores in the 80s, an 85 and an 87, and 2 scores in the 90s, a 90 and a 94. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 entries, and there were 11 test scores. So you're good. That's a stem and leaf plot. It's just a way of organizing data, and you can kind of see if you put it like this, and it almost becomes like a bell curve, which we haven't studied bell curves yet, but it's a way of measuring like central tendency. It's a way of measuring, are most of the scores bunched up in the middle and just a few outliers that were real low or real high? Stem and leaf is kind of a way of doing that. You don't see it very often, but now you know how to do it.